we've been pleased with the Vivo V25e as a phone in general, and it's no question that its camera is one of its main highlights. But I really think that this deserves more recognition, so I thought, why not take an even closer look at its cameras to really know its limits on its imaging capabilities. So, let's jump right into the Vivo V25e's cameras. First off, the V25e has 3 cameras at its back: a 64-megapixel main sensor, a 2-megapixel depth sensor, and a 2-megapixel macro shooter. According to Vivo, the main camera uses a larger sensor, but we don't exactly know what sensor this is. And to be honest, I really believe that there is a difference with this one, and it isn't just a marketing gimmick. Under good lighting conditions, we can surely see that this is in fact an upgrade from the usual budget phone. There is no doubt that images are sharp and clean and look pleasing overall. If I had to judge its quality, I'd say it falls right in the middle of a budget phone and a higher mid-range phone or a flagship phone, which is exactly where the V25e is positioned anyways. You can tell that there's more detail in images compared to more affordable phones, but also, it doesn't have the feeling of dimension that more complex camera sensors produce. The camera's shutter response is also fast and responsive because this phone is also decently powerful. I do find that I can easily capture images even one-handed because of its OIS, which contributes to the user experience. And even with only one hand, most shots did not experience blurriness caused by shaky hands. This will also be even more beneficial when it comes to our night shots, which we'll get to later. On another note, I really like the size and design of the V25e for taking photos, as it feels compact and can easily be operated with one hand. However, this sunrise gold design that we are using, as much as I really like this, tends to get a lot of attention when taking photos outside. This might be a good thing for some, but for those who want to blend in the crowd, this design is too striking. As for color reproduction, I find this also very acceptable as I did not experience any feeling of overprocessing, and it does lean towards a more subtle processing, which I do prefer since oversaturated and oversharpened images from other phones are more difficult to remove and you'll tend to lose more detail with that when editing. However, it is notable that the camera does have the tendency to lean towards being overexposed, and I find this noticeable in images where the ground is included in the shot. For its photo modes, there are plenty to choose from, but to be honest, not many of these are usable in my use case, as I tend to stick to its standard photo modes. I am sharing both unedited and edited version of the images I took here, so you'll also have an idea on the flexibility of these images when it comes to detail recovery. I also like to share that my experience recovering details in shadows during daytime is mostly good, but at night, most of the shots will look noisy. Moving on to its night performance, we can tell that the larger sensor and OIS does its job improving its capability in capturing images in the dark. But I think the credit actually belongs to the combination of these plus the in-camera processing. It does a good job of cleaning up noise, which results in acceptable looking night shots. I also find that this is more effective when taking photos of wider subjects. But this processing does also come at a cost of losing some details. Images are significantly softer, which makes cropping in not something that I would prefer to do. So based on my memory, if I were to compare this to a budget phone for night shots, this will be better but not too far off. Comparing night shots with a flagship phone though does have a more significant difference, and flagship phones would still perform much better. I really enjoyed using the V25e for taking photos. I think it does in fact have a very capable main camera, and I think it deserves more credit for what it can perform. I would consider this phone to only be a single shooter since it is missing an ultra-wide and a telephoto camera. I'm just not quite sure if it is worth the additional cost to go for a more expensive upper mid-range phone like the V25 and V25 Pro, so guys, please do share with us your thoughts on this matter. Also, if you are looking for an exceptionally good camera for a little bit more, we also did a camera test on one, and you'll see that video coming up next.